Hello and welcome to Let's Go Read. So this is the walkthrough video for Grandpa Was an Astronaut, an amazing book all about a grandson going to see his granddad, who is quite famous actually because he's not a usual granddad in terms of that he had a famous job. He was an astronaut, but actually something that's more important to Sherman is the time he spends with his granddad, and it's a lovely story, and there's some really good activities we've managed to come up for the activity pack, so let's get going. So the first thing that we are going to look at, as we do in all our videos, and remember you can fast forward, rewind to any part that you would like, is the book itself. So Grandpa Was an Astronaut. We won't show too much of the book, but it's an amazing short chapter book, really good one to read over a few nights, maybe 3 to 4 nights at home with your grown-up. But it's a brilliant story, full of brilliant pictures and some great vocabulary, so really good words to learn, and more importantly, the story's ace. So Grandpa Was an Astronaut, really good book, give it a read. So we're on to our awesome activity pack, and we are going to open it up, and the first thing we are going to do is we are going to write our names. So we always like to do this in a slightly different way at Let's Go Read. So I think we're going to go for a few of the darker colours. Okay, so when you write your name, you need a capital letter for your first letter that you don't join. And I'm going to go for some darker colours this time, a bit like the night sky. Imagine space, and I might do the moon. Okay, there's my name like that. With a bit of a space theme, but I think I'm going to add on a few extra bits. A few stars and things like that, I think. This might not show up very well on the video, but just adding a few little stars in the letters and around the letters just helps make this a little bit more fun. But there you go, that's my name there, and of course we have our welcome message that we write in our activity books every time, but that is write your name. So now on to our first activity, a new spacesuit. So although a spacesuit doesn't feature in the book, we are pretty sure that Sherman would love to design his own. But what would your spacesuit look like? Design it below. So our idea for you, based on this fantastic book, is that the Grandad and Sherman go on a bit of an adventure through space, but they're using all different sort of objects and things around the house to enable them to have this fun adventure together, and they don't wear a spacesuit. But if they did, or if you did, what would that spacesuit look like? So we always like to try and use different things from the book to help link it to our suit and things like that. So the fact that actually they visit the moon together, so I might use that symbol on the spacesuit, okay, a bit like a badge. I think I'm going to keep it quite white, but what I might try and do, and you could try this if you would like to, I'm going to try and use some of the colours from the front cover, and also look carefully at what they are wearing, whether I can tie in those colours as well. And but it's completely up to you how you would like your spacesuit to look. Will it glow in the dark? Will it have 2 different colours, 4 different colours? It's completely up to you. Will it have stripes on it? Use your imagination, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to try and do this moon badge first. Okay, so I have started my spacesuit, and my idea was to try and use some of the colours in the front cover of the book in this spacesuit, I've got the badge, and when I try to do a bit of a certain shape of the moon with that, it didn't work brilliantly, but I've got the name of the character that I thought could wear this spacesuit. Remember, there are other things that you could do, as in what planet are they standing on? Do they have a flag? If you would like to learn more about Neil Armstrong, a very famous astronaut, then you can scan the QR code with your device, iPad, whatever it might be, okay? Or ask a teacher to do it at school. You can watch a really fun video on him. But the idea is, yeah, I've got a new spacesuit for them to go off and have an adventure, and this could be the one that Sherman could wear and enjoy his adventures with his granddad. So that's a new spacesuit. On to our next activity, which is an undiscovered planet. So imagine that Sherman and his granddad discover a new planet on their travels. What would it look like? Will it have 27 moons around the outside of it, like Uranus, be extremely cold, like Neptune, or have rings like Saturn? You decide. So, you've got the opportunity to create a completely new planet here. So what colour would you like it to be? Would it have moons around the outside? Will it have one, like Earth, or will it have more? Will it have rings around it? Think about the surface. Will it have an asteroid field around the outside? If you're not sure about what one of those are, then please ask your adult at school or at home, and they can try and show you. But you can definitely have fun with doing this. And again, like any of our activities, you can go off and do it, or you can follow me through, and I will share some ideas of how I might do it. And I quite like the idea of the picture here, where it's got two different tones of colour, and I think I'm going to use that for the surface of my planet. And I'm already thinking about the name of my planet as well, because it's important to start really thinking about what would life be like on this planet. And I've got Turismo, because that is going to work well for our writing activity in a bit. But I'm going to give this a go here, because I think I'm going to have a really hot planet. So I'm going to have lots of lava pools, volcanoes, things like that. So it's going to be quite a red hot surface. Okay, so I think that I've got near the end of designing my undiscovered planet, so one that doesn't exist in the solar system, called Turismo. And I had some ideas of an asteroid field just on the far side of the planet here, just on the outside, still in space. And then I even had, even though it's a red hot planet, I really wanted one big, giant sea running through it. Although it looks a bit like a river, I would imagine that it's absolutely massive, but it runs through from one side to the other. So this planet has water, and then I've broken the rest of the planet into sections. Maybe the red parts are slightly hotter than the other parts, and I'm sure your imaginations are full of brilliant ideas, and I would love to see your planets when you design them too. But that is an undiscovered planet. Okay, so on to our next activity, a discovery description. So we've got our planet that we've designed, and now we get to write about it. And I've got a really cool way of improving your writing and wowing your teachers that you can use when you're next in the classroom. So why don't you, when we're describing our planet, actually start with the adjectives, the describing words. That's what these bubbles are here. So in the example, we're going to talk about Turismo here. Giant and red hot. Turismo orbits the sun 10 times in one Earth day. So it orbits the sun a lot faster than we do. Giant and red hot is what I went for, but what will you go for? And this is very important. Just think of your describing words, and because you've designed your planet, you should find this quite easy, because you can think about actually what words would you use? Would you use the colours? Would you use the size of it? Would you use how hot it is, cold? There's lots of different ways that you can describe it, and you've got an opportunity to write 2 different sentences about it here. So we've got giant and red hot, Turismo orbits the sun 10 times in 1 after. I think I'm going to try and think of a synonym for giant, because it is a huge planet, but I don't want to use giant again. So I think I'm going to go for gigantic, capital G. Gigantic, and I don't want to say another word that's going to describe how big it is. I want something else. It's going to be a dangerous planet. Not humans wouldn't live on it. So gigantic and dangerous. So that's an example of what you can do. Remember, work with a grown-up, because they can help you with this, because they are going to help generate some ideas with you and realise that these symbols mean certain things, and that they can help structure your sentence and help you write, hopefully, a fantastic sentence. It's well worth doing, especially if you've taken so much time to create your planet. Why don't you write 1 or 2 sentences about it as well? Okay, so that's a discovery description. So for the next task, very straightforward. I'm sure you guys know what to do, but you might be interested in finding all the answers. So this is space, spot the difference. So remember, pause the video if you don't want to know where everything is. Alternatively, if you want to follow me through and do it with me, that's absolutely fine. I don't know where all of the objects are hidden, but I'm going to give it a go and see if I can find them all. I wonder if you can too. So let's get going and see if we can spot the difference. Okay, I think I found all 5 differences between the picture above and the picture below, so I was circling the ones up here. So if you were interested to see what the answers were, I found there was a ring around that planet there. There was a button there. There was kind of like a knee pad there on the suit. And here, a window on the rocket. And then also that planet, or that moon, I imagine it's a planet, was missing. So there you are. That's space, spot the difference. So this next activity is a slightly unusual one, because there's this fantastic description on page 6. So when you're reading the book, look out for it. Here, where Sherman is saying about all the things he liked to see. So things like distant ships, the water spouts of passing whales, and clouds that looked like sharks. And I just thought that was a really cool idea, and I love that description. Clouds that look like sharks, but what would they look like? So we're going to give you an opportunity to design some clouds, maybe hide a moon as well, just in the background, okay? But how can you disguise your clouds to look a bit like sharks? Because it's something called cloud busting, where you can sit down and look up at the skies on a cloudy day and see if you can make shapes out of the clouds. It's something that I used to do quite a bit, and I'm sure a lot of you do. So give it a go next time. Just lie down and you can look up at the sky, and you can try and make different shapes from clouds. It's amazing what you can see when you look up. But clouds that look like sharks. So what you want is this sort of outside curve, and I'm going to give this a go and see what this looks like. Okay, so you can start to see the idea that I'm starting to disguise a cloud a bit like a shark. So I'm using that sort of wavy pattern, and then I've put some normal looking clouds, and I tried to make a couple of mini clouds look like little fish that were swimming past the shark. And you may have noticed in the video I was rubbing out things because I didn't get it quite right first time, and that's absolutely fine. That's normal because I wanted a bigger part of the shark here and I wasn't happy with the mouth, so I slightly changed what I did. But that's the idea, is can you make your clouds look like sharks as well? And that's a challenge. All right, we hope you have great fun with that. So now we're on to our sticker solar system. This is where you get to use your sticker pack that has come with your awesome activity book. And the idea this time is a little bit different because we thought this is a brilliant opportunity for you to order the planets, okay? So Earth, the sticker for Earth would go here, and then can you order the rest of the planets, including Pluto, which is not regarded as a planet anymore. But if you want to find out a little bit more about these planets, then please do scan the QR code here, and it takes you through to a fantastic video all about the planets, and they'll tell you a little bit more about them, because it might help you to work out which planet is which, and then you can stick them in the right place on your sticker solar system. And of course you can add in all the cool little LGR fun bits around the outside, such as an astronaut or a rocket or our little book explorer here, as well as some of the stars and other things that you may wish to add. Okay, so if you do want to know and need a little bit of help with this one in terms of where the stickers may go, then please do follow through this video, and I will do my best to show you where I think they should go. So we're going to start off with Earth. Now, Earth, we have a mixture of land and sea, or water on our planet. Now on to our next space adventure, the secret base. Now this book lends itself to a bit of a moon space adventure, definitely. But this got our imaginations whirring at Let's Go Read when we were thinking, actually, imagine if the grandpa was an astronaut, but we didn't know too much about him in history because he was always off doing secret missions. So visiting the moon, and maybe there was a secret base that no one knew about at the far side of the moon. So we thought that might be an amazing thing to be able to do. So you've got a real opportunity here to create a secret base along with a special space buggy racing track, which you might recognize in terms of a space buggy. Who used that on the moon before? You can draw on some flags of some different countries that may have visited the moon if you would like. Some little footprints linked to Neil Armstrong if you would like as well. There's lots of things that you can do, but you can design your own base. So I'm going to give you a few ideas now and do a few things, but it's up to you. You can go off and do what you like for your secret base. Okay, so I think I've given you a few ideas here. So I had a flag at the top and then some footprints. So maybe this was much lower on the moon, the secret base, and whoever visited the moon at this time didn't know about it and what maybe Sherman's granddad was up to. But I called it the Mears Space Station, and I got that idea from the name of the author. And then I've got a landing port where goods are bought from space shuttles and they land in there, ready to keep the space station operating because they're going to need food and supplies and things like that. And also maybe they could carry back samples from the moon. And then I thought this could be a bit like a tunnel that the buggies drive down, and then they hit the road here, and then they go on this really adventurous track that can go all the way around the planet. Maybe actually I could just quickly add on, sorry, not around the planet, around the moon I meant, and I could add in the rest of the track here very quickly, just to give you an idea that it can go around the whole part of the moon. And I quite like the idea, and I thought this when I was doing it, because I was thinking, actually, what colour will I make that space station? I thought, actually, if it's secret, would you want to be seen? So could it just camouflage into the background of the moon? So maybe they've got special roofs that reflect certain images and things like that. So for those of us that have telescopes back on Earth that like to look out at the moon and space, maybe it's never been spotted, and that's why it's such a secret. So you give your secret base a go, and remember, always share your creations with us at Let's Go Read. We love to see what you can come up with, because I know from working with children that you guys come up with some incredible stuff, and a lot better than I can half the time. So enjoy creating your secret base. Now we're moving on to our next challenge, and I'm really excited about this one to see what you can come up with. So this is called the Cardboard Rocket Challenge. So actually, there is a moment, and maybe you know what I'm going to talk about, but in the book, they build their rocket that sends them into space out of a cardboard box like this. Okay, and they have a control panel and things like that. If you look carefully at the book, you can see all the things that they design. Can you design something too? Use your imaginations and your artistic skills and your craft skills. Can you create your own rocket that could go into space? Maybe it could be a mini rocket if you wanted to do junk modeling. Okay, and make the actual rocket that way, or something you can sit in if you want to use a larger box as well. But once you're finished, you can ask a grown-up to take a picture of you, cut out the picture, and you can stick it onto the Polaroid here. And that's a really lovely, brilliant activity for you to do, and plus it's awesome fun. So give the Cardboard Rocket Challenge a go and see how you get on in your book clubs at school or at home. As well. All right, have fun with the Cardboard Rocket Challenge. So one of the things that you may be really interested in is actually the moon, and you may have noticed at night throughout the month it will look slightly different on different nights, and that's because it will go through different phases. Now there's a brilliant conversation where we got the inspiration for the title of this activity. On page 68 and 69 of the book, there's an amazing conversation between Sherman and his granddad about why the moon might look different at different points of the month. So we wanted to give you an opportunity to learn about that. So through the QR code at the bottom here, there's an educational video for you to watch so you can learn actually what you would draw in each of these parts here. There are more phases than just these 4 parts, especially to do with the moon as a banana and why it sometimes looks a bit like a banana. But as always, if you want to go away and try and do this yourself, you can, but I'm just going to draw a little bit. As always, if you would like to go away and do this yourself, then you can, but I am going to draw what these different phases will look like. So we've done one for you already, and that's the new moon. That's when, from the position of the Earth, we can't see any light from the sun because the moon is reflecting, but on the side that's away from us, reflecting light. So what happens, it will orbit round and round the Earth. Say this is the Earth in the middle, and it's going all the way round, and we'll gradually see more of the sun's reflected light at different phases. So the first phase that we have is the first quarter. The first phase that we have is the first quarter. Now, that is where half of the light of the moon, okay, so we're gonna have to do a circle shape. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. This certainly is. If you want to find something round to draw around, then you can do that, okay, but we just need a round shape like that. Once you get the basic shape, then you can do it. And then the first quarter, all right, would be half the moon is showing light. So I'm going to shade this side, okay. And then what will happen, it will keep orbiting round, okay, and then it will get to actually the full moon. We mix these up a little bit in terms of positions, but the full moon would be where you can see the whole moon. So this will be full of light. That's reflected, so we can see the whole thing. So that's sun reflected light, and we can add on some little details here. Maybe have a look at the picture, the bits that weren't showing before you can see now, because it's been reflected, and I'm just going to add in a few details of this particular one here. And then as it's going round again, orbits the Earth, okay, you will see in the third quarter, but the other half of the moon that you didn't see in the first quarter. And then it returns to the new moon again. But like I say, that video that we've got will explain a lot better than I will. And this will be the other half of the moon. But remember, drawings don't have to be perfect, but you get the idea of how there's different phases of the moon. And we hope that you really enjoy doing that, and you can learn a little bit more, and you can go and tell some adults and your teachers how much you've learnt from that, and also think about the adventures maybe that Sherman and his granddad would have around the phases of the moon. Okay, so that is The Moon is a Banana. So we've nearly come to the end of our activity book now. The last few activities that you've got left are things like you can rate the book here. So you can see I've divided this final star. If you decided to give it 4.5 stars or 5 stars, whatever you would like, you can colour in the stars and also give a reason why you really liked it, or were there parts you didn't like so much. It's always good to have an opinion on a book. And then we've got a fact corner here. So this is where you can learn space facts and try, if you can, to recall and remember those facts by going to find a different person to go and tell it to. So try and memorize it, and then go and find a person to tell, usually a friend or a family member or a teacher, and then race back, see if you can remember the next fact, go and find someone else and say that fact as well. It's a different way of doing it, but there's some awesome facts there. We've got our keywords as well. So these are the common words that we hope that you'll spell and use and you can recognize and read when reading this book. So these words appear in the book. We've got some brilliant words that are quite important, especially when describing the phases of the moon, such as waxing and waning, bundled, things like that. Are really good words. We've got a little definition to help you understand. Of course, your book quiz, so hopefully your grown up, whether they're at school or at home, can ask you these questions. How well do you know this book? Do you know it really well? Are you able to answer the questions on it? And then, of course, at the end, we have our reward chart. So make sure that you're collecting your stickers as you go. Remember, you get stickers for completing your activity pack. So for every couple of activities that you do, reading the book at home, perfect to have a sticker for every couple of chapters that you may read, okay? With your grown-up or they're reading to you. And of course your school reading, so any phonics books or reading books that you're reading at school, and if you're doing regular reading at home, this is a great way to get some reward stickers for that. So we've come to the end of our awesome activity pack for Grandpa Was an Astronaut. So we hope that you had really good fun completing our activity pack, designing your new planet, building a space shuttle and going off on your own space adventures, as well as writing about them and designing spacesuits and all sorts that you could do with this pack. But of course, we hope that you enjoyed the book too. Grandpa Was an Astronaut. It's an amazing book, one that we hope that you will treasure time and time again, and you will of course share with your grown-up at home and treasure those times when you're reading together. Anyway, until next time, and I help you with another activity book, take care and keep reading, guys. All right, bye.